We are about to go live to talk about mental health. We're going to let everybody get the um, information to come on the live, and we will start in about 5 minutes discussing uh, mental health and the statistics, and then we're going to talk to two different lupus warriors that, excuse me, that have had some mental health challenges and gotten through them. Thank you everybody for joining in. I see everyone starting to come in the room. And just to preface it, this is going to be a discussion about mental health. So if that's a trigger for you, log off. But if you can handle the discussion that we're going to have, then stay around so that you can get some information and you can hear from some lupus warriors that have had some challenges with mental health, but have overcome and are still overcoming every single day. So let me just give you guys a little bit of more time. I see that one of our ladies is here with us, and we're going to start her off first in about 3 minutes because she has another appointment to go to today. But we are talking and discussing lupus and mental health. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Healthy and Happy Lupus Awareness Month. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Miss Amanda Green. Happy Lupus Awareness Month, everybody. It's only been, 4 days? And I feel like we've been in Lupus Awareness Month for 3 months. It really does feel like that. It feels like we are just running feet, 10 toes to the ground, running and just spreading the awareness. And I hope that you're getting something from our facts, tips, affirmations, and of course our beautiful warrior stories. Tomorrow we will be highlighting your beautiful faces for the first week of Faces of Lupus. If you have not sent in your picture for the Faces of Lupus, go ahead and send it to us via PM. I'll also send you a Lupus Warrior frame after you do that as a thank you. And you can display that on your page, and you can display that for everyone to see that you are a lupus warrior. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to start in a few seconds. Once again, this is Let's Talk Mental Health. We do not have a professional coming on here. So if this is a trigger for you, you might want to log off and come back on a different day that we're not talking about mental health. But if you are okay with discussing mental health, and if you have some mental health challenges that you want to share, please stay on. We have two wonderful lupus warriors that are going to share with us. They've been overcoming, and they're still overcoming different mental health challenges that we sometimes don't want to talk about. Okay, so I see that one of our ladies is here, and she needs to leave early, so I'm going to start off. Let me find her. Forever Smiley, I'm going to bring you in. Let's see how we can do this. Okay, let's see. Years, and I still have issues trying to pull people in. I just sent you a request.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How's everything going today? It's a beautiful day out today.
I said I'm in a good mood. I got my stitches out, so.
Yay! Defeated.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. That makes you feel much better, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. It's just stepping forward.
Look, that's what we're talking about this spring, right? We
Yes.
step into it. And might as well step into a good feeling and a good day, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
I
I
hope
know.
you're doing good.
Yeah, I am. I actually am doing well today. I feel a lot better than I felt when you last saw me.
Mhm. Your hair looks beautiful.
Thank you. That's my girl. You got to go to her. You got to go to her.
Yes.
Yeah, she's really good. She's really good. Now I can stop worried about my hair falling out while I'm combing it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Whole nother issue. A whole nother discussion.
Yes.
Level of this, right? So today is about mental health. And
Yes.
I know I know you personally, so I know your mental health challenges.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to start off by just asking you, and if you care to share,
Mm-hmm.
what type of mental health challenges have you been dealing with since being diagnosed with lupus, or is it something that has always been?
Um, I would have to take you back to 2013. This
Wow.
is when it's has, and that's 10 years. I basically just kept having these cycles where at that particular time, it was every 4 to 5 months, I would go into a depressive episode every 4 to 5 months.
Wow.
And that's, to me, even though I'm the one who went through it, it takes me back because just think about your life being interrupted every 4 to 5 months. You don't know when it's going to happen.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like you can even prepare for it because it's not like it has a schedule.
No. One day you'll know. You'll know because you'll just start to feel a sense of it's a quiet storm.
Mm,
It's
that's a
a quiet storm when it comes in, and you know when it's coming. You know when it's brewing.
way of putting it because it comes on you so quickly and
Mm-hmm.
so it's like, do you ever have any inclination, like any type of clue, like any, like sometimes if people have seizures, they have like a veil over them sometimes. Do you ever feel like you can almost predict it or no?
Like I said, it comes on like a quiet storm. It's like a sudden type of thing for me anyway. I
Right.
would say that that's what my experience is. And it's just like I said, it's sad because you'll just start to feel a sense of fatigue that's worse than the fatigue that you go through with lupus. Imagine that on top of some more. And you just feel like a ton of bricks has like stopped you in your tracks. You can't move. If I feel like I'm confined and I can't move, and that anxiety comes in with it too. So you start to feel very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
The interest in things, communication with people, it starts to go downward. It's like a slow downward spiral.
Yeah, and it's so hard to even capture how you're feeling when that's happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, when it's starting to happen, I get upset because I know it's going to be a good minute before I will feel like Tawanda again.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. That can be very difficult. How do you usually handle that? Like, how do you handle that whole quiet storm just coming on you so suddenly? I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that deal with these issues. How do you handle it?
I know for me, I take that spiritual time and I draw close to God. It gets to the point where I can't pray
Mm,
out of my mouth. I have to literally get my journal and write my prayers because I just can't. I don't know what it is. I just cannot pray like, quietly to
yeah,
myself.
yeah.
I can't do it. The concentration is just not there.
Mm,
And the motivation is not there,
right, right.
which is really hard.
And that's interesting because it, it's it, it's it's bad that that happens, but it's
Hmm.
good that you found a way to release that.
Yes, because I mean, for me, I feel my faith. I never want that to be taken, and
Right.
I won't allow it to be taken, even when I'm at my lowest. I just get the journal out and I write. You know, and it's very difficult for me to even pick up my Bible. I have to pretty much remember things
Mm,
like my favorite scriptures to try to keep myself
right.
encouraged because you get very low,
Yeah. Yeah.
really low.
You do things in the between time, like when you're feeling well,
Hmm.
and you're doing well,
Mm-hmm.
not having an episode, do you put things in place to try and look back at just in case another episode creeps up on you?
Well, one of the things I really do is draw very close to my therapist.
Good.
I do cognitive behavioral therapy, so that's been quite helpful. I kind of, you know, make that connection with her, let her know what's going on, and we start trying to see, okay, what are we going to do with medication management?
Right.
And also making sure mentally that I'm okay.
Right. Right.
And because like I said, there are times when you will have days where you're so low. It's not that I would say I'm suicidal, but
Right.
there's times I'll feel like I can't go through this another day.
Where it's just overbearing and
Yeah.
just so painful just to even breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's gotta be hard. When you come,
Mm-hmm.
it's gotta be hard to look back and say, oh my gosh, I was really in a low place.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that you said you're not suicidal, but there might be people out there.
Mm-hmm. And I will be truthful with you. There was a time, like back in 2013, I did feel suicidal. That was scary.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can
You
imagine.
know. And like I said, that particular episode might have been because so many things were going on. It could have been triggered. I was becoming to the point where, that my last child graduated. So it was that June. I just got really low, just really low. And I think it's because maybe I felt like an empty nester,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only episode that I could tell you might have been triggered by a major life event.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because anything can trigger depression and anxiety and things of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It could, the wind can blow the wrong way, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the I guess the way it works. That's the way our
Yeah.
brain works. We're so in touch with our brain,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if people realize how much the brain has to do with the body.
Right.
So now, do you feel like when you're going through an episode, do you feel like your physical body is also going through something?
Oh
Or
yes.
just mentally?
Um, I can tell you physically, yes, you feel like you're crawling out of bed every day. I will tell you my personal experience with it. I want to sleep. I don't want to face another day, but I know that I have to. So I have to keep talking to myself subconsciously. You got to get up. You got to try to get yourself dressed. You have to, you literally don't want to get in the bathroom and do what you're supposed to do. Like to take a shower, it hurts. It physically hurts you to do it
Right.
because you don't have no energy. And you have to go with me. I go through that every day of that depressive episode. I don't want to do the activities of daily living. But with the help and support and love of my daughter, because she's home with me and she knows what I go through, she'll remind me and say, maybe you should set an alarm and maybe try to get up a little early because there's things we need to do, and forget about it. When we have things we have to do,
You can't stay in that state,
I
right?
cannot stand when we have to go somewhere because that means I'm going to have to literally get myself up early and
Right.
get moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get to, but it's good that you do have your daughter there to push you a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's important for us to say though, it's not so simple to just get out of that depression or to get out of an anxiety ridden moment.
Mm-hmm.
It does some time and some coping and some therapy and some, if possible, medication, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, with me, I take my medication. I take my medication even now.
Mm-hmm.
Medication management is very important. You have to consistently take your medicine. The thing that where I have issues with that cornerstone of 4 to 6 weeks. That's the typical.
So wait, this time.
Yes, it's like they put you in a box. Well, you should be feeling better. Pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily the therapist. Well, not mine anyway. But pharmaceutical companies put you in a box, and they typically will say, in 4 to 6 weeks you should be feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case for me, and I'm quite sure that happens with others too. That I've heard stories of people who, they had to maybe switch to another medication. It's like you're on like think of a wheel going around, like the little hamster on the little wheel. That's what you feel like.
Yeah.
That's what you feel like.
Yeah, I imagine that is the correct like feel like you were in a wheel and just spinning, spinning, spinning.
And remember, we talked about treatment resistant.
Yes.
There's people out there that are treatment resistant. They might take their medication through that depressive episode for maybe 6 months or so, as an example. And then all of a sudden, when they're getting towards the end of that episode, the medication starts working. So you're saying to yourself, I had to suffer all that time.
Before thing would even happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Before it felt it relief.
Yeah.
At all. Interesting.
And remember, I was telling you 7 months
Mm-hmm.
was the last depressive episode. So
Yeah.
it can last a while.
Yeah. It definitely can last a while, and it can be very taxing on your mind and your body. Absolutely.
Yes.
We have a young lady, before I let you go, because I know you have something that you have to do. She says, "Hi, lovely ladies. I'm 19, and I diagnosed a couple of months ago. Any coping with the diagnosis? Advice do you have for her?"
I think the advice that I would give her is first of all, don't give up.
Right.
Be patient with yourself. Accept yourself where you're at, and journal. Medication management. And number 3, support.
Yeah.
That emotional support is important. I'm single, so I don't have the support of a partner, and that's hard sometimes, but I managed to make sure that I still have a good support system. Family will call, make sure I'm okay, make sure I'm eating, because your appetite gets cut, But I would tell her to definitely reach out to a therapist if she doesn't have one. Therapy is important. It is a vital part of care.
Absolutely. You're not suffering from depression or anxiety. Just to have that person in your life that you can speak to without any judgment and without any issue, any they don't have a vested interest as far as personal business is concerned.
And you have to, and I'm glad you brought that up, because you have to be very careful when someone is negative to you. Sometimes you might have to back up, and you might have to take a little time away from that particular relationship, because that's no good for you. People tend to want good for you, but they'll tend to say, well, you need to, shake it off. And I've had experiences where people said things to me, oh, that's not like you. You're strong. You're being weak. No.
It's hardly about being weak.
No. Because if anything, you are strong.
Right.
To endure it and to live through it, But my heart goes out to her because, like I said, 19. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's rough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And you can't, sometimes you can't say anything more than it's rough. So
Mm-hmm.
at 19, I would say, just like you said, be patient with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself some grace. Don't be so hard on yourself because you're so young.
Mm-hmm.
Feel even more magnified, because you're
Right.
feeling really old with the pains and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But fine.
And you know what I feel, and I want to take that back, talking about her age, because I guess my heart just goes out to her because it's such a tough thing. That's a heavy load to have
Yeah.
to carry.
Yeah.
It's like carrying a backpack with bricks in it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're trying to walk, and it's tough.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's not really harboring on her age, but at 19, when I think of myself,
Yeah, you think about all the things you could be, what you were doing at 19,
exactly.
and you don't want to have to deal with mental health, but it's affecting so many
Yeah.
people, even younger than that, and my heart is like, oh wow, how do they verbalize that on an elementary level,
Right. Right.
mm-hmm.
And that's where acting comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's where making the wrong decisions come in.
Yes.
But like we were saying before, if you're patient with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
if you're understanding of what your body is going through, it kind of makes it, I don't want to say easier because it never gets easy.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it tolerable.
Right.
you know
And I think another thing too that I think I'm going to start venturing in is trying to find a mental health support group so you can link with other people, because you say to yourself, if you're going through that, at a time, is better you might feel better talking to people when you're like that, because you shut down and you don't want to really converse like that.
and then sometimes it might just give you a little bit of hope because someone's
Right.
going through.
Exactly.
It all ties into everything. It,
I keep telling myself, I said, you know what? You got to take your story and you got to advocate it, because it can help somebody. I hope it helps someone.
well, number one, it's going to help you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because like we were talking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to express that and to
Yes.
release that from your physical body by
Mm-hmm.
writing and speaking it.
Yes.
Really makes a difference that people don't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
The simple thing of, at the end of the day, taking your pen to your paper and
Mm-hmm.
write everything that bothered you, everything that happened in a day, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you liked,
Yeah.
up and putting it in your pocket, or,
Mm-hmm.
and taking the stuff that you did not like and boiling it up and throwing it in the toilet and flushing it. Our
Exactly.
mind can do so many things to our body.
Yeah.
So health is definitely a thing that we really need to be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Yes.
you so much,
Oh,
Tawanda.
you're welcome. No
I'm
problem.
happy that you came on and shared your story. And I will definitely be reaching out to you again so that we can do something else, maybe some art therapy and things of that nature that can help.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I know you have something to do,
And
so
if
I'm going to let
you have anybody who wants to reach out to me, feel free to give them, my handle. It's fine.
you.
I
Right.
said.
So you all heard that. My name is Forever Smiley on here right now. And I'll put it down in the comments and I'm going to take note of it so that y'all, if you need someone to talk to, that you don't have anybody or you're afraid to call the number that I'm going to leave with you all before we get off this, definitely reach out because
Yeah.
it's always good for somebody to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, Tawanda, I want you to make your appointment. I don't want your daughter to be
Okay. I said, thank you for having me.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you so much, and you have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Hey, everybody. I love Tawanda's story. Okay, I think, did we do it? Yeah. Um, I love Tawanda's story. It's so important for us to really understand what people are going through with mental health as we're dealing with lupus. I see that our other guest has gotten on the live, so I want to go into her story in 1 minute, Ballsy. Give me 1 minute. But I wanted to give you guys some facts before we started. According to the Lupus Research Alliance, lupus and its treatments can impair mental and emotional health. 80%, 80 to 90% of people with lupus um, can really deal with mental and emotional health. Neuropsychiatric lupus describes feelings of depression, headaches, and lupus fog. You know, when you have trouble thinking or remembering things due to lupus. And almost 25% of lupus patients experience major depression, and 37% have major anxiety. 25% of lupus patients experience this depression that they have such a hard time getting out of. And that's important because lupus takes a toll on us. And I just want you guys to have these facts before I bring Elois up, okay? So depression is a condition that can make a person feel sad, hopeless, and uninterested in things they used to enjoy. And I'm sure, I know I have, I'm sure we've all dealt with those issues. It can cause physical symptoms, something such as fatigue, changes in appetite or sleep patterns, and aches and pains. It can actually make lupus worse. Think about it, right? Depression can range from mild to severe. And it can be caused by a variety of factors, such as genetics, life events, and chemical imbalances in the brain. You know how sometimes people just tell you, oh, just get up, you'll be fine. No, sometimes it's a chemical imbalance. Anxiety is a condition that can cause a person to feel worried, nervous, or fearful in situations that may not actually be dangerous. And y'all, I'm reading this because I want you to have it factually. Okay. It can also cause physical symptoms such as a rapid heartbeat, sweating or trembling. Anxiety can range from mild to severe, and it can be caused by a variety of factors as well. Genetics, life events, and imbalances in the brain. Lupus psychosis is a condition that is fairly rare where lupus can cause inflammation in the brain. This can result in changes in a person's thoughts, emotions, and behavior. And this can be very distressing, not only for the person affected, but for their family as well. So my next guest is Elois, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about her journey with mental health and things of that nature. So let me try and bring her on. I have sent her a invitation. And let's see how long it takes for it to click on. Excuse me, y'all. Here we go. Hey, Lois, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I am good. Thank you so much for coming on with us today. You know, we are always chit-chatting back and forth.
Yes, ma'am.
Always. So I was trying to give a little synopsis. We heard from Tawanda early because she had to go to another appointment.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I brought you up. I wanted to make sure that people understood what depression was, what anxiety is, and different things. And you and I had recently spoke about the lupus psychosis that you had been dealing with.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what happened and how you are overcoming that.
So it started about 2 years ago. I started noticing some changes with my body. Battling lupus, it's been about 6 years now. And, I know that things can change over the course of years and the progression of lupus. So 2 years ago, I went to see my doctor, and I explained to her what was going on with my body and just expressing to her how I was feeling. And so she said, we're going to monitor it and see what's going on. And she prescribed me Zoloft. I declined the Zoloft because I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression in 2003. And so I knew I didn't want to go down that route. So she continued to monitor me. So now, fast forward, we're in 2023. In 2022, I displayed some aggression.
Wow.
And it was very detrimental to my family. I started talking all over the place. I was in and out of reality. I started stimming. I didn't sleep for 3 weeks straight. I didn't eat for 3 weeks straight. So my husband was concerned. So I went over to the hospital and they took me to acute care immediately. I went over to acute care. They started doing their observation. And of course, I had to see different psychiatrists, talk to them. They're trying to get the feeling of my behavior and how I was feeling. So I was expressing to them exactly how I was feeling. So they continued to monitor me for about 4 days. They sent me home because they said I was highly functioning and that my space they needed for a more crucial intake.
Wow.
So they sent me home. I went home, but the aggression increased. So my husband was worried, and I was very aggressive towards him. And he didn't know. His first thought was, you got bipolar, something's wrong. And so although I knew something was wrong, I couldn't articulate like exactly what was happening. So I end up going back to the hospital and admitted again for the second time. Same thing happened. Sent me home. She's high functioning. There's nothing wrong with her. So the third time I got admitted, finally there was a nurse who noticed some behavior. Now, when you go to acute care, everything is snatched from you. You're not allowed to have a fork, knife, anything that can cause harm, self-harm, just in case you're wanting to commit suicide. And so also when you're there, they have a monitor that actually sits in the room with you, along with having a police officer outside the door. And depending on you, they will have you also handcuffed to the bed. And so again, I'm in acute care. A nurse comes over, she's talking to me. She go write down her notes. And then next thing you know, they're like, oh, we're going to transport you. And I'm like, transported where?
Right.
And they telling me like, you know, there's a lot of things that I'm not going to be able to have. I couldn't have no strings, no clothes with string. I had to remove my bra. It was a lot going on. So they end up transporting me to Stone Springs Hospital Center. I was at Stone Springs for a week and a half. They evaluated me continuously. They, you know, close observation, checking my room every 15 minutes. They started giving me medicine for the insomnia, trazodone. So I was on a high dose of trazodone. And then after about a week and a half, I started seeing another psychiatrist. They had different therapists coming in. We started having group. And when you're going through depression and anxiety, at times you don't know how it's going to overpower your body. So there were a lot of other people who just, the self-care was just gone. And so while I was there, I still was doing my regular self-care. So I end up giving a seminar about self-care.
Wow.
And so like by the fourth day, everybody was getting up and they started calling me Bossy. And it was like, Bossy, I took a shower today. Like they were super excited.
Yeah.
So I went home for about 3 weeks. The behavior occurred again. Aggression, stemming. At this point now, I'm making threats. And it's getting really bad. So there's nothing that at this point my husband could do for me.
Right.
And so he said, you know, I have to do an emergency CEO. So I end up getting transported to the hospital. And for a brief time period, I end up getting TDO. And so they had to handcuff me to the bed.
Wow.
They restrained me. They wanted to make sure I wasn't going to self-harm. It was just a lot that I went through. So then they end up sending me to Spotsylvania Regional Medical Center. So I'm about an hour and a half from my family. I'm there for 2 weeks. I wasn't crying because I can honestly say, when I went to Stone Springs, I know it sounds weird for me to say this, but I actually enjoyed it.
Okay.
I
Hey,
had so much
you
fun. And
probably need.
even when I tell my family, they're like, you had fun. It was relaxing. They was able to get me to express myself, and there was things that I didn't even know that I was going through. So I also had got diagnosed with severe PTSD.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they also was going in the route of PBD.
Mm.
But I end up, my results came back, both of them, also lupus psychosis.
Wow.
And
So,
so,
so in the process of you just trying to figure out what the heck is going on,
yes,
they actually were able to see that the lupus was starting to affect you
the
mentally.
behaviors.
Yeah, affect your behaviors and affect what's going on in your brain to make it even worse.
Yes, ma'am. So the chemical imbalance, it took me to a place that I've never been before. Being in and out of reality was the scariest thing I've ever experienced, because one moment you know what's going on, you're aware, and the next moment it's like you know what's going on, but then you don't know what's going on, and you're just all over the place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That had to be so difficult for you.
Very difficult. I stayed in the bed for 3 months.
Mm.
I had to end up taking off of work, and I just, it was just a lot for me. I lost a lot of weight. Um, I took FMLA at my job. I needed the 12 weeks after I got out of the behavioral hospitals. I said I need time. I took off for 12 weeks. I stayed in the bed the whole 12 weeks. I got down all the way to 136
Wow. And you
within
where were you before then?
163.
Wow.
So I drastically dropped weight. I had to end up going to see my rheumatologist. And when I went to go see my rheumatologist, every time I see him, he's always, you look so amazing. I love that you keep yourself up. And he was like, we're just going to check your platelets. And at that time, I said, listen, it's not about how I look. Let's just
Right.
put that to the side. And I said, and that's why it was so hard to diagnose me, because everybody is always going over, like they think the look, everything doesn't have a look. Disability, it don't have a look. So I basically was telling him, like, I don't want to talk about how I look. And I started expressing to him everything that was going on, what my internal medicine doctor was saying, and he was in agreement. It's literally lupus psychosis. He was upset because the psychiatrist, so I started seeing a psychiatrist, which I still currently see,
Good.
and the psychiatrist prescribed me Lamotrin.
Mm.
Lamotrin is a mood stabilizer
Mm.
that you must take every single day. And if you miss a dose, you will see it immediately,
Wow.
because you become aggressive. The first thing is aggression. I noticed. And when you're dealing with lupus psychosis, or you're dealing with extreme PTSD, anxiety, depression, I have multiple sclerosis, I have a lumbar disc disease. It's a lot I have going on. And so with all of that just going through my brain and just trying to navigate through life, I'm now at the point, my children are older. My son's 21, daughter 16, the grandbaby is 2, and it's time for me to now live and take care of me. All I know is how to be a mom, a wife, and now a grandmother. And my family, they've been really supportive, and my husband is saying it's time for you now. Only focus on you. That's
Yeah.
it, and that's all.
And
You've done your part.
yeah, I'm so glad you have that support.
Yes, ma'am.
I know someone a little further up on the comments said that it affects families too, and it affects everything around you. Any type of
Yes, ma'am.
that you have, your mental health can really affect that. So
Yes,
today,
ma'am.
how how are you feeling about having to do a couple of things? You've got to take medicine for all of your physical ailments, and now you've added something extra for the mental portion of it. How are you feeling? How does it make you feel once you feel like you're steady?
Where do I start? So when I left the behavioral hospital, Spotsylvania Center, they end up prescribing me 13 medications.
Wow.
And I said, there's no way in the world that I'm going to take 13 pills along with the Plaquenil for the lupus, along with the tramadol for the pain, along with ibuprofen for the inflammation. I'm not taking 13 pills. So I started taking 3 pills.
Mm-hmm.
And I end up finding out that something was going on. So I end up going to the hospital because I was soiling myself. When I tell you no bladder control, literally walking outside and there's puddles just coming down. And I had to end up wearing Depends. End up finding out that one of the medications causes for you to not be able to hold your bowels or anything.
Wow.
And so that was me doing my own self-evaluation. I said, I got to figure out what's going on. So then I end up going to the doctor and they said that I had overactive bladder.
Wow.
And I'm saying, I'm 37 years old. You know, that's a little, but then of course with my elements, I'm like, you know what? That could be possibly true because diagnoses don't have an age or a look.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so I go home and I assess, and then I start taking all the medication. And what I will say is when I started taking the medication, all of my symptoms again reoccurred. Like I started being aggressive. So I knew I had to find some type of something right away. So I did some Google. You know, we love Google. Went on, did some Google. Listen, Google can diagnose you for sure. You don't even have to go to the doctor. You don't need the doctor. Just Google.
Right.
So I end up Googling every single medication. Then I downloaded the WebMD app and I listed every single medication and I wanted to know the interactions in between all 13.
Yes.
So then I started narrowing it down. So if this pill helps with this and that pill helps with that, then if this pill has 2 that helps with 3, then now we can start, playing that elimination. So I started eliminating pills that just was redundant. I'm like, no, this doesn't make sense. And so I did a lot of research. It took me about 3 weeks. At that time, I'm still seeing a psychiatrist, but now I'm assigned a psychiatrist.
Gotcha.
So I'm supposed to check in. And so I checked in with her. She ended up giving me the Lamotrin. I started taking the Lamotrin, and then you have to gradually increase your dosage until you feel like you're there. The Lamotrin pill takes care of everything. The stimming, everything you could think of with the mental health. It takes care of all that. So I decided I'm going to take the Lamotrin. And of course, you know how we are. We would like to have a glass of wine if we can.
Right.
So I said, if I'm going to take anything, I need to be able to have a glass of wine. And Lamotrin was the only medicine that I can actually indulge in a cup of wine and not have any, diverse effects. So to answer your question, fast forward, it's now, I just had my birthday. So I celebrated my birthday. I turned 38.
Oh,
happy birthday.
To you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I actually had a really calm birthday.
Good.
Believe it or not, I'm always having events because I'm an event planner, always ready to do something. This year, you will be surprised what I did. We had fried chicken, waffle and fried chicken, and watched Judge Mathis.
There you go.
I can't make this up. And I was happy because I feel like now I am getting my peace back. I'm now able to go outside. I resumed going back to work. I've gained my weight back. So now I am 153.
Wow.
And I got there really quick because I started taking control of my mental health. And I said to myself, I'm not going to let it beat me. I'm going to be it.
And
Um,
I love that you said that. You took control of your own mental health. You
yes,
saw,
ma'am.
you did what you had to do to make sure that your mental health was good. And you started focusing on you, and that's important.
Yes, ma'am. And I don't ignore it. When I go to therapy, I've been going to my therapist because I'm in marriage counseling. We all need counseling.
Right.
And in order for us to go through this journey, we need counseling. And my husband is the one who helped me understand that, because growing up, you hear that stigma, oh, if you go to counseling, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Counseling is bad, you know? And
Yeah.
so my husband always encouraged counseling. So we've been together 12 years and just celebrated our 10th year anniversary.
Wow. Happy anniversary.
So he's my other half, you know?
Right.
And so there's a lot of things that he's going to see that other people aren't going to see, even if they're family members. This is who I share my space with, you know? He is my other half. So with saying that, you know, I make certain that he's included in everything, you know, my care, my medication. He knows what I'm taking when I go see my rheumatologist, neurologist. And so I still see a therapist, like I stated. Um, and I do it, and it makes me feel so awesome. Like I just feel fabulous.
Yeah.
I feel great. You know, I'm able to talk to them. I do my therapy session at 6:30 with counseling for the marriage, and then turn around. I get a hour break. We back at it at 8:30 for my own personal session. And she's asking me, how do you feel? Are you symptomatic? Who is your trigger? Because I have to be honest and transparent. My husband was my trigger.
Mm, that's
And
interesting.
it was so bad. And when I think about it, you know, it do bring tears in my eyes, because
Of course.
that was a break in our marriage that I didn't ever think I was going to experience. Um, and it got so bad. It wasn't that he was neglecting me, but it got so bad that he had to move out the home.
Yeah. I mean, because it's only so, just like it's only so much you can take, it's only so much they can take as well.
Absolutely. And it was devastating. It was heartbreaking for me, you know, to understand like this is something that's changing my life. This is not, I'm a new person. Like I'm never going to see the old Elois, because I now have these new diagnoses. So I have to now adapt to the new me. And in order for me to regain everyone's trust and find myself again and do my inner self evaluation and be my own advocate, I had to say to myself, what are you doing here? My daughter had to be sent away because my husband didn't feel like it was safe for her to be here. My son, of course, he's moved out. However, he still comes home to mom and dad. And he had to end up taking a break. And I was so devastated because I didn't know what to do in that matter. And I'm like, I'm losing everybody. I lost my friends because the behaviors, you
Mm,
start just running everybody away. And I woke up one day and I realized I only have two friends.
wow.
And
Wow.
it's because I've ran everyone away with what I was going through. But again, I was in and out of reality and I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
I lost my friend that I've been friends with since I was 8.
Wow.
And we went on vacation to Cancun for my birthday. And this was 2 years ago. Mind you, I never knew any of this was going on.
Wow.
And when we got into that heated argument and the things I was saying and the things she was saying, mind you, we out the country. Anything can happen. Like, we're outside of the, you like, why are we arguing? And before I left, one of the things my husband said to me, love, you are in Cancun. However you feel, you keep it inside. No arguing, no nothing. Because we're friends. So of course, you know, you go through that. And when we got into it and had that dispute, I was really hurt by it because again, we've been friends since I was 8.
Yeah.
And it made me realize then something is wrong. But I
Yeah.
didn't tell anybody. I just was like, something's not right.
Yeah.
And to this day, she's actually my daughter's godmother. And every now and then we'll chat, small chat, we'll like a picture, she'll come on my page, but we still haven't regained our friendship. And that hurts to know that this will run people away.
Yeah. And it hurts even more because you don't know how to fix it. You know, like
Absolutely.
you can't change what happened in the past. You just try to find ways to make it different. You know, your relationship is probably going to always be different at this point.
Absolutely.
But find ways to try and deal with that so that you're not even triggering yourself again with it. You know?
Absolutely. And so now I have to find different coping mechanisms to keep me afloat, because I am afraid of, going backwards and regressing. I am afraid of stemming. I am afraid. Oh, that's another thing. I was manic.
Mm.
That was new as well. And that's where the behavior came from. And so when I went to the behavioral hospital and I had to stay in the holding center first, I was
Right.
manic.
Mm.
And that's what made them make that decision to send me to a behavior hospital for closer observation because I was manic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that it, your story is just amazing to me. Every time I talk to you, I learn something new about you every single. Um, Grandma Vero says yes. You push friends, family, and everyone close to you away without actually meaning what you mean. If it makes sense, it does make sense. It does.
It makes
But
sense.
in that time, of course, you meant it, but you weren't in your right frame of
In
mind.
and out of
Yeah.
reality. And that's a real thing. That is a real thing. And I advise everyone who's out there watching and if anybody else who's going to come in and watch and we share it and you watch it, if you feel any niche of something that you're not used to feeling, get help right away. Because if you don't, when it comes out, it's going to come out in a way that you cannot control. And that's what happened with me.
Right.
When I first started talking about the lupus psychosis, and remember at the beginning, I stated that I got diagnosed with depression and anxiety back in 2003. I had a baby at 16. I was homeless in a shelter. So there was a lot of things that was going on. And, no matter the adversity, I had to keep pushing, keep pushing. And my perseverance, it was like, you're strong. You got it. You got it. And that's what happened with me. It was covered up.
Yeah. Yeah. You put
Because
on all these masks.
yep, on all I just have on a mask, and you're always in fight and flight, always. And I believe, and I'm not saying this is true, my beliefs is because my son is 21
Mm-hmm.
and daughter is 16 and very self-sufficient. You see when I post, got her own salon and everything, self-sufficient.
She grown.
I just feel like my body now is saying, you have nothing to do. Let's just shuffle everything, get it all worked up, because there's nothing for you to do. My mind is not filled with things I have to do as far as the children: basketball, football, cheerleading, dance, conferences,
Right.
this place, that place, friends coming over, sleepovers, birthday parties. You're always moving. And so you're not realizing that you're not taking care of yourself. And because I am now at that calm, even though I got a granddaughter, I'm at that calm stage of my life. And the lupus psychosis and everything else have completely taken over me. And so I've been taking my medicine every single day. I do not skip. I don't skip a day.
Good.
I wake up at 6 o'clock, old dot clock, and I'm taking it. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock.
Right.
I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that I stay in control of my mental health.
Right.
Because I don't want my family to experience what we went through back in October, November, and December. It was detrimental to them.
Yeah.
We didn't have Thanksgiving together. We didn't have Christmas. We didn't celebrate New Year's, nor did we have Valentine's Day, because my husband went and moved away to Philly for a month and a half. And it was just so different in our household. And so now, again, I do a lot of journaling. Like, I'm always in a journal every single day. I'm a pre-K teacher. And so when I'm at work, everybody always say, there go Miss Dixon with that journal. And they was like, I want to read this Dear Diary, because
Right.
I write everything down. I write my emotions. I remind myself of who I am. I tell myself that, you know, I'm amazing, I'm beautiful, I'm fab, You Lupus, which that's my LLC. And I'm always I'm just always just loving myself. Affirmations every single day. I look in the mirror. I listen to your Monday meditation every Monday. I have my candles lit. I have a whole section that's geared to lupus. And so that section, everybody in the house, well, it's on 3 of us, but my family knows I now have my own space. So I literally have a lounge in my house. And I love leopard print. And this is another thing. A lot of people see leopard print because I wear it every single day. If it's not on my shirt, if it's not my pants, my shoes, somewhere, if you can read between the lines, has leopard. Believe it or not, that's what's helping me with my mental.
Interesting.
I have to have leopard or see leopard.
Wow.
It has to be somewhere in my reach. My car is leopard print. Like, everything is just leopard print. So
that's something that your mind actually has latched onto.
Yes.
Calming mechanism for you.
Yes, ma'am. And it's been since 2007. Wow. Is when I first started liking leopard print. And as the years progressed, I started noticing I'm liking it more and more. Then I started noticing everybody was calling me Cheetah Girl. You know, it went from Elois to Bossy to Cheetah Girl to back to Bossy. And I started realizing that I have so much leopard print that it was overwhelming for my bedroom.
Wow.
My husband wake up, he looking at a leopard print. He probably thought I was a leopard at this point, because everything was leopard. So my lounge where I'm sitting at now, everything is the way I like it. Fireplace, TV, desk, a stand, my little girly thing, my makeup, my vanity, my chase.
Space. I want this space. I want you to come and make that space in
Listen, I told you, I'm a home. I will come right over and turn a whole space into a room.
You have leopard prints. Grandma Vero says she has succulent plants. It's so important.
Yes, to find your niche.
There you go. And to
you have to
calm your nerves, what helps you feel more mentally stable, and what helps you not to go off. Because look, let's face it, it's difficult dealing with lupus. But when you add on everything like what you have, lupus, MS, PTSD, you know, lupus cycle, all of these things can really weigh on you.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have that space like you created in your own home.
Yes, ma'am.
You can go stir crazy.
And that's what I'm gonna be honest, I am afraid of that. The way I was mannequin, I manic for 3 months. That's scary. Like, to the point everybody had to move out.
Yeah.
Being in that manic stage was just, I was just afraid. And so again, by me having that lupus space, I've had it for 6 years. However, every year I'm noticing I'm adding stuff. But it brings life to how I'm feeling. I even found the welcome sign, and it's WELC. The O is a butterfly.
Nice.
M-E.
Like that.
So I've really tapped into my mental health and understand that it happens to the best of us. I also understand that if I don't own it, it's going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And in order for me to sufficiently be able to be a mom and a grandma and a teacher, I have to do what's best for me. Because what parent wants a teacher, although I don't have to disclose that information, because it's my personal medical diagnosis, what teacher wants to be walking around zooted out and in and out of reality?
Right.
What parent wants to drop their children off at school and realizing Miss Dixon is different? Miss Dixon's behavior is different. She used to speak to me pleasantly. Now she's, hey, hi, dismissing. People pick up on that. Again, that in and out of reality. You don't see what you're doing to other people.
Right.
And so,
exactly.
I just wanted to make certain that, and that's why I did the FMLA for 12 weeks. Was my job happy about it? No. However, I have to take care of me. So I need the 12 weeks. And then not only did I do the 12 weeks, I end up putting in the RA. I need reasonable accommodations.
Of course.
I don't want to be in the heat. I want to wear a hat when I want to wear a hat. I want to be exempt from different classrooms. I don't want to work with this program. So due to my compromised immune system, my students are 4 and 5. I work with the pre-K program. And I have to do what I need to do for me. I'm not going to be sick the whole rest of my life with a common cold. Because lupus warriors, we suffer when we get colds. We don't shake it like everybody else. Then we got to go get blood draws.
That's 14 weeks. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to give some, Grandma Vero said, this live makes me feel that I'm not crazy, nor losing or a crazy person. Nope, you are not.
Nope.
This is real talk.
This is
mental health.
It's a real feeling.
Real. It's real. It's important to deal with that depression. It's important to deal with that anxiety. It's important. What I'm getting from Elois right now is that she took time to take care of her. And I think sometimes we neglect that. We neglect all of that, and we allow our mental state to have us do everything for everybody else.
And that's exactly what it was. Yeah. I'm taking care of everybody, even though I'm supposed to take care of my children because they're my children. However, I'm taking care of my children, other people's children. People are asking me for advice. They're asking me to help them with their problems. So now their problems are now on me. So now I have to be a problem solver for your problems. It's overwhelming. It is. And again, with lupus and dealing with, everything, I used to. I have a really good memory. I can recall things from when I was 3 years old. So I can recall everything. And I've noticed now I don't force myself to recall or remember anything. I will write it down. If I have to stand there and read it like this and then read it like that and say, hold on, and flip my pages and pick up my journal and look at it again and flip through and say, oh, there they go. I will do that because it's not your journey. It's mine. This is what I'm going through. This is what I'm facing. And so if it's something that you don't understand or you feel as though it's too much for you to, deal with, guess what? I'm fine with that. At the end of the day, my judge is the man above.
Yeah.
And that's how I handle it.
You have to get to that point in your lupus journey. And even with your mental, you have to get to the point where you are most important on your lupus journey. Nobody, even if you have children, even if you're married, you matter most because you can't pour from an empty cup. So
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Say that again because I like to hear that.
Yeah, you surely can't pour from an empty cup.
Not at all.
It's important. We always want to help someone. I find that most lupus warriors are those people that always give of themselves. And I've seen this constantly with a lot of lupus warriors. They are such giving individuals and they love to give to others. And then they neglect themselves. And I swear the takeaway that I got from you today is just please, please make sure that you are taking care of you. Make sure that you are paying attention. You were paying attention. You noticed the issues, and then you did something to make it change
And
and to
hold
make.
myself accountable.
Woo, say it again.
You have to hold yourself accountable, because when you start doing the blame and the shame, it comes back on you, and it pushes people away because they feel like you're not owning up to what you're doing. You're not owning up to your behavior. You're not getting the help. And that's what my husband was saying to me. You're not getting help. And in my mind, again, the in and out of reality, I'm not doing anything. He's like, love, you definitely need some help. And so when he made that decision and ECO me, I was upset at first. But like he stated, I'm concerned about my wife. We need to figure this out. So holding yourself accountable will help you on your journey. And once you hold yourself accountable, like when you invited me, I had anxiety.
I know.
Shut down.
Oh, you did.
I shut down immediately, because I'm doing the loop May 23rd. So in my mind, I'm preparing for that. And I'm like, you want me to do what? And I say, it's no way she wants me to do this. It's no way. I prayed on it. And I said, you know what? I said, it was 1,000 and million people you could have invited. I said, God, let me share my story. Absolutely. I said, I don't have to be prepared, because when you know what's going on, you can just talk. Just like when you're telling the truth. When it's the truth, you don't have to stumble over your words. It's going to come out because it's the truth. When you start stumbling and you have to pull out of a basket, and that's when you start trying to cover up a lie. So because I'm living in my truth, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to surprise her, and I'm going to take that opportunity to share my journey, even though I wasn't prepared.
Oh, that you did.
So I went in that closet. I said, what shirt am I going to wear? And I was like, here we go. I'm going to throw this purple shirt on. I'm going to brush and comb my hair. I'm going to make sure I'm looking presentable. I was like, let me brush my teeth. Let me do my self-care. I said, I'm going to do this interview. If I don't do nothing else, I'm going to do this interview.
Girl, I tell you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's why I came up with the Fab You Lupus. And then I turned into my LLC, because when I did that interview 2 years ago, if you tune in and go back and watch it, everybody kept saying, you look fabulous. You look fabulous. You look fabulous. And I was in the classroom one day, and it came to me. And I was standing there. I remember I was doing ratio. I counted all of the children, made sure that my ratio sheet matched the children that was present. I worked, for Army, so I really had to make sure. And I'm standing there, and out of nowhere, I said, Fab You Lupus. And I said, what? I hurry up and wrote it down. When I wrote it down, I put it inside of a file. I said, I'm not telling nobody. I said, I'm going to turn it into an LLC one day. And so I did end up slipping up telling my coworker, right, but she was moving away. And so when I told her, I said, it don't matter. She's moving away anyway. She's not going to tell anybody. But then she ended up getting diagnosed with lupus.
Wow, look at that.
And she reached back out to me. And so I started helping her with her lupus journey, but she never brought up the fact that I told her the name that I wanted, because I think for her, she's like, she really wanted to hold that, Yeah. And so I was like, okay, so I did Fab You Lupus, and I did it during a tough time. I did it during the pandemic.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's COVID. We're all in the house on top of each other. We're afraid. We don't know what's happening. People don't even know if they're getting their medicine, which that reminds me, the Plaquenil,
right?
They had came out with that study saying that Plaquenil was helping others with COVID survive. So as a lupus warrior, the anxiety started revving up, because I'm like, if everybody's going to get the Plaquenil, what's going to be left for me?
Us, right, exactly. Look.
So that was anxiety, And so
funny that you said that, because I think it's sometimes we forget that we deal with these things day to day and don't even realize it,
Yes,
And the name for it is anxiety, especially with the hydroxychloroquine, especially with the whole COVID in general, people had to start living like we live every day.
Yes, ma'am.
So
unpredictable.
Yeah.
Because the disease is invisible. Unpredictable.
Yep.
You don't ever know when you're going to have an exacerbation. You don't ever know when you're going to have to get rituximab treatment. You never know when you're going to have to get Sodimadrol. You never know if you got to take pills. You never know if you're going to bruise. You never know if you're going to have blood clots coming down. You never know if you can go on vacation. You never know the weather. You never know. The list goes on and on and on. I have to plan around the weather. I have to plan around vacations. Well, if it's too hot, I can't go. If it's too, I have to watch for the overcast. It's a lot that you have to do.
And it's a lot that you have to think about. It does take an emotional toll on you. It does take a mental health. Sometimes you have to take those mental health breaks. And I'm so glad that you were able to get the help that you needed.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so proud of the fight in you. I'm so proud of you taking control over things that you had control over to get to a place where you feel calm and peaceful in your lupus strength. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Come on. I know that somebody gleaned something from what you stated, and I so appreciate you coming on. I can speak. Know that.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I said I can speak to you all day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I so appreciate you coming on, and I so appreciate you sharing your story and allowing people into your life, especially with such a serious issue such as mental health. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
On the 23rd, right?
Yes. May 23rd at 8 o'clock.
8 p.m. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lois.
My pleasure.
I will talk to you on the 23rd.
Before I leave, before we go, we part, I would like to invite those lupus warriors, or if you know someone who is battling lupus or just need that it's just, they need to see something. They need to know that, again, when she said, I'm not crazy, I'm not, on my page, my LLC page, I am like an open book. I'm very detailed. So if you follow my LLC page, you will see from the beginning all the way up until now, the things that I've gone through, gaining weight. I was 203 pounds. It was a lot. So if I can leave you with my Instagram, along with my Facebook, and my email, so you can find me at You Lupus, FABULupus_LLC. And
put that wrong in there. Okay.
So You Lupus
_
yes, LLC.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, you want to chat about your journey and you just don't know what to do, I will make certain that what's being said is confidential. You will never have to worry about me posting anything. I do respect people's privacy, although I'm an open book, but I do respect privacy. You can email me. And so my email address is fabulupus, FABU LUPUS 24/7. You got to be fabulous 24/7. You have to be fabulous. So fabulupus 24/7 at gmail.com.
All right, I'm putting that all down.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll put it in again once we get off.
Okay, so hopefully, I was able to help somebody come out, because again, we put on this mask and we just hide behind the mask and we don't know how to take the mask off.
Right.
We don't, because we're always being judged. And once we remove the mask and we get to that place where, again, that I'm finally getting to, you're able to navigate and you feel unstoppable. And I'm back at that stage where I feel unstoppable, how I used to feel years ago, before the whole mental situation happened.
And
So I do appreciate you inviting me.
I'm so happy that you accepted the invite.
I had to pray on that thing. But I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate everything. I appreciate, what you have going on. Every single day, I look forward to going on your page, the Lupus in Color. I look forward to, again, my Monday meditation. I tell the whole family, if you see my fireplace on,
Right.
if you see my candles, if you see my LED purple lights on, I am in the middle of a session. And do not, when you hear that Monday meditation, you know that I'm mediating. So it's time for you to go find something.
Yeah, I love it. I thank you so much for your support all the time. I'm so happy,
Thank
and
you.
I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of the growth in you, and I know that you will be as big as you need to be with your Fabulous company. So thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
I will see you on the 3rd.
Yes, ma'am. Take care.
Right. Thank you, Lois. My goodness, y'all. Amazing, amazing stories from Tawanda to Lois. Such amazing, amazing stories. And, a lot of times we try to bring professionals in to talk to us and to tell us about what we need to be doing. But I feel like sometimes it's so much better to hear it from someone that you can relate to hear that someone is going through something that you've gone through, and it really helps you to identify and know that you can overcome as well. So before I even leave today, I just want to say, if you feel that you have some mental health challenges and you're dealing with some issues, you might be dealing with some trauma, you might be dealing with some depression, you might be dealing with anxiety, you might even be dealing with some suicidal tendencies, I want you to make sure that you have something in your hand that you can call. So if you're feeling any type of issues going on and you don't know who to call, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. You can just dial 988. Depression, anxiety, psychosis, manic, bipolar, all of that is real. And I don't want you to ever think that what you're going through, whether it be for mental health or lupus in general, that you feel that you're going crazy or that you feel that it's not valid. So make sure that you find a therapist if you need to, find a friend to talk to. And if you're ever feeling that you want to hurt yourself or hurt someone else, please make sure you call that hotline at 988. So I want to thank you all. We have been on here for an hour and a half, but an hour and 10 minutes. And I want to thank you all for coming on and listening to the stories of those two wonderful ladies. I'm going to leave their information in the comments when I upload this. And I hope that something from this conversation has touched you either to do what you need to do for yourself or to get some help that you thought that you could not have the courage to get. So thank you once again. This is Let's Talk Mental Health, and I hope that you gleaned something from it. So thanks a lot and have a great day. Bye-bye.